Good morning. Oh, it's not morning anymore. It's probably just after lunchtime now. Anyway, tomorrow is Father's Day here in Australia. So, I'm going to make a couple of cakes. And today I'll do the one that takes a bit longer. And that is a German yeast-based plum and cherry cake with like a crumble on top. Anyway, this particular gadget is what I use to make the dough because my hands aren't strong enough to make the yeast dough properly. So I'll show you what I do. Hang on. Rightio, I've got my machine, nothing in it yet, and I'm going to put about 2 ounces of butter, and that's not a dirty jug. It's just that I mixed up a little bit of milk and cinnamon in it with sugar a few minutes back, so now I'm just using it and I haven't rinsed it out because it doesn't need it. Butter, doesn't matter what sort of butter as long as it's unsalted. Like I said, about 2 ounces for this amount of dough, and cinnamon sugar that I just happen to have, a bit of caster sugar and cinnamon mixed together, and flour, but we don't use self-raising, we use plain or all-purpose, as you call it in America. Probably about 2.5 cups. 2.5 cups, yeah. I don't know what that is in pounds. So, and the milk, well, that's a bit iffy. I just usually go by, what I think I need. But anyway, the dough should not be a hard lump, and it shouldn't be like pancake mixture. It needs to still hold its shape, but it can be very soft. So, okay, and an egg, of course. So here we go. Okay, I think it's about a cup, maybe a little bit more, and we're going to warm that up in the microwave, but not boil it. Just enough so that the butter melts and goes soft. And then we will pour that over the flour mixture and egg and all the other things that go into the machine, and get the machine going. And what was I going to say? Well, just about the milk, that it's not too hot. Okay, that's exactly 1 cup of milk, but that's with the butter in it. So I'm going to add a little bit more milk, cold, to this because it got a little bit too warm. And you also put about, well, in this cake I use around 1/2 cup of caster sugar, and this one's got the cinnamon in it, but you don't need to put the cinnamon in it. And what's really, really nice about this cake is that there's not much butter and there's not much sugar. So you probably could almost call it a diet cake because it's just not one of these fully loaded cakes that will kill you. There we go. And guess what? I almost forgot to add the yeast. So I'm going to get my yeast. It's just dry yeast in the packets. And you just put one of those packets in here. That's all you need. There we go. So I function a lot better after lunch when I've had my glass of wine. So I shall get the yeast while I remember it. There we go. One of these. That's all you need. Rightio. Let's put it in there. Make sure we get it all out. Camera's gone a bit funny. It's not focusing. It's a bit strange there. Don't know what's happening there. Rightio. That's better. Now it's focusing. Rightio. The yeast is in there. The butter, the milk, the sugar, the egg, the plain flour, and a pinch of salt. So I shall turn it on. Yeah, hang on. Close the lid. Just a minute. Doing this with one hand. Right. Let's see. Let's put it on to dough. Where are we? Are we on dough yet? No. There, that's the one you want. Dough. And then you just push. Start. Here she goes. I actually have another bread machine that I bought a while back, just in case this one decides to die on me, that I have one ready, and haven't used it yet, but at least it's there if I need it. I'm a bit of a gadget junkie, especially gadgets that I like. Rightio, I've got to scrape the sides down because for some reason these machines always leave a bit of flour behind, so I will get my trusty spatula and scrape down the sides. There we go. Now this mixture is fairly runny, so when it's time to put it into the cake pan, I will grease the cake pan and then put a little bit of flour over the top of the mixture, and then I can pat it with my hands and spread it out in the tin. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit runny, but I think I might just add a little bit more flour to this. It's just a little bit too runny. And the machine will take an hour and a half to do this while I clean up my messy kitchen. I'll show you the bottomless messy kitchen. That's a pan that's soaking from dinner last night. Looks pretty gross, but we had pork spare ribs, and it always makes a mess in the pan. And a few dishes, of course. Yes, the bottler will clean her kitchen up beautifully. Okie dokie. Okay, I don't know what that knocking is, but I don't care. The machine's doing the work. So I added another quarter of a cup of flour. So in total, I think I put about 2.5 cups altogether. So that worked. And it kind of changes every time. You have to play with the flour a little bit. Rightio, we'll wait until this is ready now. Well, I just thought I'd let you know that I have an account with Steam It, and it's a pretty good site. So I share things there. So you can come and see me there, and I'm under Krista. There you go, there's my name. So I look forward to meeting you on Steam It. Okay, this is my baking tin, and it's a very old one, and it's gone a bit yuck on the inside. So I put a bit of oil, spray oil, and baking paper. And this tin is double layer. It's 2 tins together. So it's a really good one. That's why I haven't chucked it out, because the cakes in here turn out really well. And the paper, once the cake's done, you can lift it out fairly easily, which helps. Rightio, I've decided to put a cream cheese filling underneath the fruit, which will be canned cherries and canned Angelina plums. So we'll be needing probably a cup, 3/4 of a cup of caster sugar, 2 packets of soft cream cheese. That's a large bottle of cream, but probably just use half, which is about 300 ml. What else? 2 lemons, and I'll put the rind in as well. I'll grate it. 2 eggs separated. I'll be beating the egg white, and I'll just mix the yellows in with the mixture. Mixing bowl, and I think that's pretty much it. So I shall make my cheese mixture, and the cake dough still has about 25 minutes to go. It's looking pretty good. Let's have a look in there. Yeah, that's what we want. So this is going to be a nice cake. Anyway, I hope hubby enjoys it tomorrow, because as I said, here in Australia we celebrate Father's Day the first Sunday in September. Rightio, better get mixing. Okay, I'm not into canning cherries or plums, not yet, because my plum tree died, and I have planted another one on the new block, But these are really nice, so I shall just take the juice out and put the plums on top of the cheesecake mixture after. And with the juice, what I end up doing is once the cake's cooled off, I turn it into jelly. And I pour that over the top of the cake, and you'll see that once I've done it. Maybe. We'll see. I've got to keep the camera running a long, long time. So, to show you all this. Anyway, I better get mixing. Well, I'll let the dogs lick out the paper from the cheese. There's not much on there, but they love it. Bad bottler. Okay, I forgot to mention that I also put a packet of pudding mix, which is just custard. You can use any kind of custard except the ready-made one in bottles. You just put one packet into there. You don't whip the cream either, you just pour it in. So this is actually my auntie's recipe. She's German. She's no longer living, but I saw her make this one a few times and I do like it. So hopefully it will turn out. Okay, the cheese is mixed and I think it's pretty good. It's not too runny. It's holding its shape. And now I'm going to mix the egg whites, and I put a little tiny bit of salt in there, which helps it to beat nicely. And then I'll just fold that through the cheese mixture. And then I'm going to lick the bowl out. Okay, that dough looks really good. And my cheese mixture looks really good. Tastes good too. No wonder I'm fat. And now I'm just going to put my fruit into this beautiful little strainer that I have had for many years, which used to be Mum's. And I shall keep the juice, and then I'll show you quickly what we do, but I won't actually show it to you while we do it on the cake, because the cake takes a while to cool down. And we'll see if I can manage to get the jelly on the cake on this video. Just means I have to wait for the cake to cool off before I do it. And then tomorrow I'm going to make a hazelnut Nutella cake. It's actually a sponge, and you cannot mess up this sponge. So I shall show you that one tomorrow. So they will be the two cakes for my husband's Happy Father's Day. There's my cherries, and I don't want them mixed with the plums because I told everyone I'd make half cherry and half plum. There's the plums. So, and I get 2 free jars. So keep your jars and keep your lids, because if you want to reuse them, you can. You can reuse the lids for the dry foods, and you can buy new lids if you want to can with them and put new lids on. Although sometimes I'm naughty and I do use the old lids, and I have honestly had no problem with them. So, choice is yours, but always keep your jars, because free jars. Okay, I've got the dough in the pan, and I've taken out the little arm that's in the machine. Don't forget to take that out, or somebody might break a tooth. And you put your flour over the dough like this. That's a trick that my auntie showed me. And then you just pat it until it fills up the tin, and you get a little bit running up the sides for a border. Okay, that's as good as I could get it. And I think there's enough of the edge to hold the cheese. Maybe a little bit too much, but that's okay. It'll work. Okay, that's worked out all right. And now I'll put the fruit on. And I'm so going to be sick because I'm going to eat the leftovers. Leftover cheese. And I like leftover dough, but that's probably a bit much. Anyway, I am going to pig out. Okay, that's before it's baked. If I was not putting the jelly on and just had the fruit showing, I would have made it look a bit nicer. But by the time the jelly goes on, you're not hardly going to even see the fruit. And you don't bake the base before you add the other ingredients. You have your dough raw, then you place your cheese on top, mixture, and then you add your fruit. And then you can, if you want to, you can do a crumble and put that on now, but I've decided that I'd rather do the jelly because it looks a lot prettier and it tastes good. Rightio, into the oven with it, probably an hour on a medium heat, 170, 165 Celsius, whatever that is converted into American. And my oven is electric, so it will spend a fair amount of time in there. Looking good. I'm not opening the oven, but it's doing good. Cleaning the kitchen. Yep, we don't have a dishwasher. Actually, we do. It's called me. So, a little bit more. I'm just soaking these labels to get them off the jars. And then I have 2 extra jars. Okay, it's baked. And I lifted up a corner so I could see if the base was doing okay, and it doesn't look too bad. Now this cake will sink, the cheesecake part of it will sink low and make a dip like a well on top where I can pour the jelly. So back to the dishes. So I have 2 lovely jars, nice big ones, they're probably almost a quart, and a nice clean kitchen, and the cake is sinking, which is what I want it to do. And once it's cooled off enough, I'll put that jelly on there, and then tomorrow we'll cut it up and devour it. And I hope hubby appreciates all my efforts, because I could have gone out and bought one, but I made it instead. Rightio. It's been a long day to make one cake. Anyway, I did start fairly late in the day. So I got the cake out of the tin, because with the paper you just pretty much just slide it out. And then I've managed to get the paper out from underneath it. And this here is what I use to make the jelly. I'll use 2 packets. And it's sort of a thickening powder. And there's the juice. So I'm going to heat that up and then whisk it until it becomes jelly, and it will be hot and thick. And as soon as I pour it on top of this cake, and maybe you can see that it's got a bit of a lip around the edge, all that fruit will be covered with beautiful red jelly, and I will surprise hubby tomorrow for Father's Day here in Australia. So there we go. Hang on. Okay, I've been whisking it and it goes a horrible colour, and then once it thickens it becomes clear, but a red, beautiful red colour. I guess you could probably use clear gel or therm flow or even arrowroot for this sort of thing. So if you can't get hold of that particular thickener that I have, those other 3 things would be fine. Okay, it's more a purple colour because of the fact that it was plums and cherries. So I'm going to pour it over the cake now, and can't do it holding the camera because I need to concentrate. Rightio, be back in a moment. Well, I'm back. You can see the steam coming off the jelly. I did do a little boo-boo. It looks a bit funny, but there's pretty much jelly all over it. I didn't put enough of the thickener in, and some of it ran underneath, but that doesn't matter. It'll just taste better. So anyway, this is my effort for my husband's Happy Father's Day cake. And shh, don't tell him, but I bought him 2 big bottles of Bailey's Irish cream, and he can have that with his coffee in the morning. Not the whole 2 bottles though. Anyway, bottler signing off. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Give it a go because it's quite an easy one. And let me know if you've tried it, how it went for you. Rightio, subscribe if you like. Hit the thumb if you will, and that would make me very happy. Thank you very much. Bye.